Okay. Hello, everyone. It's kind of like every once in a while, I have some students talk to me, say they want to do some project with me because I offer this option if they take the course with me. But it's kind of unnecessary for me to repeat for everyone again and again. So I feel like I just do a video recording and just let you to know some basics before you have any clue to talk to me to go any further. Some of the students, so that's the typical things I want to recommend you to do this project. So there are several few things. First, some students they are not doing good in the class. They say, okay, I just want to do the project to get some extra points. If the purpose is that, I just suggest you not even think about it because if you have hard time to even get an A in my class, you definitely not qualified to do the project. Okay, to to just listen to the lecture, do the homework, and I have some reasonable requirement for the class. And even for that, you have the hard time. There's no way you can survive in the project. So that's the first things you should never try to think about this one. You probably can just close the video and just try to do something else. That's for the first uh, scenario. The second scenario is some students come here and just want to just do some easy things and try to get some recommendation letter for me, but and mostly it's for the graduate school application, rather either in better school or for a PhD program. But before you ask me to write any recommendation letter for you, you should know to learn this project is really doing something for yourself. And you need to show me something you serious to do and I can talking about in the letter. If just think about this, if you have hard time, if not just mention about me, say I'm asking you to write a recommendation letter to talk about yourself, and you feel like you have a hard time to to say how you're gonna be differentiated from other peers, then I would not do it either. Okay, so you actually need to do the project to do have the demo to show something. You actually do something different from your peers, and then that's the things I can talking about. You actually can write a decent reference letter for you. There are some students always ask me to do that, and they to their attitude, it looks like they don't even care about what I'm writing about. Then I just write a social letter and I just talk about the normal thing. I believe this letter hurts you more than actually benefits you in the application. So if you want me to write a recommendation letter, you probably need to do the project and actually show me there's some progress you can do. And then for the third one is doing the project, it means you need to have the genuine decent work inside. It's not like just fooling around in the class to just get an A and be satisfied with the A. It's like if your goal is like I'm trying to get a job, the annual salary is above 100,000. If that's the goal, then that's probably the project gonna help you. If you say, okay, I just want to get the degree, okay, or I just want to get an A, that's it. And I never think about to getting a job with a salary above like 100,000, then you probably also don't even bother to do the project with me because it's kind of waste. Because if you can do the project with me and sustainably to update your skill, you should be actually qualified to find a job with a salary above like 100,000. Okay, so if that's the pre-screening of the motivation where you are, so if you finally fall into the category, say, okay, I want to promote myself and I want to live a better life and I want to find a job that's have higher paid salary, then that's probably you can come talk to me and talking about the project. Okay, so to the project, and I want you to also, when you start with, I want you to have some self demonstration of you have the capability to learn by yourself. So although I present this sample project, and maybe some students already finished this sample project later on, but it doesn't matter. That's always a starting point where you can start with. So for this project, so first I would like you to download this Excel file from this Dropbox link, and I will post this link in the description of this video, upload into the YouTube. So first, when you click here, and then click the download. That's weird. Looks like the director opened this one. Just wait. Okay, looks like the directly opened it. Okay. Anyway, so when you download this file, for this file you can see I have a list of TICO, and then they have some performance data related to it, but that's for this like technical of the data. But for this, each of these TICO is for a company, and then I would like to you to do a project to actually create the financial statement for each of these company. Okay, so and the task I want you to have is if you go to the marketwatch.com and then you can choose any of these tickle here. So I will use this AAL and type in AAL. So you can see American Airline and that's some. So in these websites they have a lot of information for for the stock they're gonna have, and then once you click on the financials, okay, I have no idea why it's so slow. So now you can see for each of these tickle over here, that's the tickle sign. You have this URL link, and then you have all these financial statement data for all the companies are gonna have. So what I want you to do is for every single tickle over here, and then I want you to read the corresponding web page by using change the URL link. So American Airline, you start with MarketWatch/investing stock/AAL and then financials. Then you have access to all these web page. When you computer can see this page of the information, what I want you to create is a data frame. So they have the column. So they have the information you can read from here. They have the sales and revenue here. Okay, so I want you to generate like a sales and revenue column, and then you have the year 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019. So then you will read each, your code will read each cell inside here and then fill in the information. So in 2015 it's 40.99 billion, and then 16 is 40.18 billion, and etc. So you read all this information, okay, one by one, and then you move to another column. So that's gonna be the cost of the good. Column, the same thing, and then that's to 7.01. So over here, I'm just doing it manually, and apparently I want you to write the program to do this by the machine. The machine can do this way faster than human, okay? So apparently I don't want you to just do this manually. And then I want you to create the table. So it's the same. Then the next column is this one, COGS excluding DNA, and then depreciation, and etc. So essentially for AAL, you will create the table with like 5 rows and many columns, and this save as a data frame, okay? Save that as a data frame, and then you will move to another different tickle. So over here, after I search finish for the AAL, and then you can use your algorithm to change. So if I starting from here, and I will move to AAP. So when I have the AAP, so all I need to actually essentially want to change is change the URL from AAL to AAP. So now this going to be Advanced Auto Parts company. Over there, they have their own financial data. It's the same thing. I want you to crawl all these financial data to save it for the next step analysis, okay? So you can just do this one by one. After you finish AAP, then it's AAPL, that's Apple company, and etc. until you go all the way down to the end of this list, okay? So when you go all the way down to the list, that's all the things you can have. Okay, so that's essentially the actual project I want you to try to achieve on your own part. And then it's a very common mistake for the people when they start working on the project. If they have no background on the Python, then that's the basic things I recommend you to do. So you don't even bother to try. It's like you haven't learned ABC and 1, 2, 3, and then you start to say, I want to learn calculus. That's no way you can do it, okay? So you actually need to have the basic things. So actually, I have a YouTube link. That's the playlist for the basic components of the Python. And you need to have the foundation before you can actually move on. So that's going to teach you the very basic things. And once you learn this one, although most of these 18 video is talking about the basic thing, but the video 14 and 15 is actually very important components, talking about what you're gonna do for the self-regulated learning to achieve your more advanced task. Okay, so once you go to this, when you move to this stage, and then you probably can start to have the foundation to actually start to working on this project. You get some programming idea. So, and you have some computational thinking and self-regulated learning, because over there, there's some computational thinking. It's also very important component for you to start this project. Is relatively hard. So when you do this one, this project actually have two components. So, and over here I try to help you to break it down to smaller one. The very basic, for the beginner, the trouble they're gonna have is when they see a huge project, they get shocked and stuck and they have no idea where to start with. And that's the typical since you have no idea how to break the large problem into a smaller one. So from the task I'm asking you is I need you to download this file and try to read each tickle I provided over here. Okay, and then try to find the financial data and saving it. But for doing these things, you actually in the first layer you can break the problem into two layers. First, you're gonna read the tickle list from the Excel file. That's the first task you're gonna have. If you are not able to read each of the tickle from this Excel file, you won't never be able to find the corresponding URL to help you to locate the information out here. Okay, so you are not even able to achieve this task. Don't even bother to do anything further. So how can I read the information from the Excel and then load that as a list? That's the things you can try to search online. That's the primary task you can have. If you are not able to even finish this one, then definitely you will not be able to move on. So once you have this one, then for each tickle, okay, then I will use over here inside for this loop is have access to corresponding web URL link over there depending on which tickle you are looking at, right? So you will make the change on these components here to use a code to repeat it. So if your tickle is AAPL, it's Apple, then you will replace this string, and if it's Boeing, and you're gonna see to BA, if it's Microsoft, it's MSFT. So you will see all these corresponding tickle to load you into this web page. And then once you go to this web page, and the next step is I will read the components each cell over there. Then I will read each component in the web page, and then I will put all the components together and generate a data frame. Then the next step is save the corresponding data frame in the hard drive. Although any of these components is kind of hard, but that's help you to structure, to lay down. Say if I have no clue how to replace the middle part of the tickle to replace over here to lead me to the right URL page, then you are not even leading your Python code to the right web page. They're definitely going to read the wrong information. So you don't even bother to go to the second components. Okay. So once you finish this step, then you will see, okay, I will read each component rather than I will read all of them at one time. That's impossible. Nobody can read all of them. Even you write in your data, you just read this one by one. And the hardest part is actually for this. So you're gonna actually read those type of things in the web page, so I will just highlight this one. This is the most time-consuming component you will spend for having access to a project. And I have more detailed description for this one. Then you will have say, okay, how can I put these components together? Once you finish this one, then how can I put these components together to generate a data frame? That's relatively easy if you would be able to do that and save the corresponding component in hard drive. That's even easier. And once you have this, that's how you achieve the entire task. Although at the current moment, you will not be able to finish any of this one, but this will break a huge problem into these 5 smaller problems that help you to solve one by one. If you have no computational thinking, this kind of idea, you start trying to think about all things all together. There's no way you can handle and go further. And then for you to have access to each component in the web page, you are supposed to learn this by your own, and you need to search the keywords like how to get the piece of information from a web page by Python. You actually need to search things look like this one in Google. Okay. And then you will see, once you have all this information, you will see a very common concept is called the web scraping. Okay. And then there's so many things talking about the web scraping, and there's so many different techniques you can do this by your own. But I would recommend you can use all different things, but when you look at all this, and when all this page you look at boils down, you will realize you will use the technique called the XPath. And I'm just directly giving you some hints for that, but how I can lead you to use the XPath is actually you search all the things go online. And then once you try to use the XPath, if you have no background on the HTML, how the format is going to look like this one, and then the next thing is you probably need to like XPath Python tutorial. For any concepts you don't really know, you probably need to do something that's so basic that telling you some very fundamental of the issue before you can move on. As I always mentioned, you have to start with something simple before you can do something complicated. Especially some concepts, it's kind of very hard. And when you try to learn the XPath, I don't even recommend you, let's say, okay, if you try to locate the piece of the information and have the inspection over there on the web page, it's located in these components. So what is the XPath in this similar web page? It's corresponding to the component here, but if you look at the source code inside of this MarketWatch, it's very complicated. And this web page, because that's commercial web page and it's so complicated over here, that means you probably want to simplify and learn some tutorial to try to collect a piece of the information on certain web page that's very structured, very simple. That help you to test some components. You learn from the XPath, you get some idea what's going on before you move on. Okay, so that's all the conceptual you're gonna need to do, and that's the basic idea. And then when you're working on the project, so that's some recommendation I would have you to have. And the first thing is, if possible, you better to have someone work with you in a team, and then you can communicate with each other. They have two folders because when you have two different people working on this, even see the same thing, they might see it from a different angle, and they bring the new side to you. And even you say, okay, I don't even bother to learn with others because I cannot find some peer have the same level as me. But you still have some beneficial if there's some gap because it helps you to organize and summarize to reinforce what you learn when you pass your knowledge to your peers. So that's and also train your communication skill. Your communication skill is also very important in your working place. So that's one type of thing. Another type of thing is only when you start work on the large project, look like this one, then there are some concepts you learn in the how to say, there are some more advanced concepts you start to make sense to you. And why we need to have the function, why we need to separate like reading the data, analyze data, and show the result into very different components. It's kind of hard for me to tell you why you need to do it in that way when you have no background at all. But think about that. All you need to do is just writing a diary. You never need to write a book, okay? Then you will never appreciate why I need to have the chapter, I need to have a section, and why I need to have a paragraph. Because when you write a diary, you probably just 1 page, 2 paragraph, write for yourself. And just record something of your life. But when you write a book, you need to present your knowledge to the people who don't know in a structured way. And then you will see how this gonna make sense when you have the chapter, section, and the structure look like this. But do you really need to have a section, chapter for a diary? You will never be able to do that. So it's the same thing. If you always working on a very simple code, then there's some advanced concepts you will never get it, okay? Because some type of thing is only when you get your foot wet, working on the real things, then you will start to understand, oh, why I need to do it in that way. Otherwise, there's something. It's like telling you why I need to have section, chapter, paragraph for the people who write a diary. No way you can tell him. It's so unnecessary. And the last thing, as I already mentioned, in the paragraph for over here, for self-regulated learning, it's very painful, okay? And it's very time consuming. And don't give up so easy. So, and consider about that. If you learn something smoothly, and you just lucky happen to find some tutorial that's really good, and you can follow very well, then try to learn more. If you are unlucky and there's some hard problem, and you almost make no progress, then you probably need to sit down and say, okay, how I break this large problem into a smaller piece, and how to search another alternate material to see how the different people are going to talk in different way. And remember to take a break when you're depressed, because it's not like you don't finish today, you're going to die, okay? You have plenty of the time. So when move on smoothly, learn more. When it's blocked, then take the break up when you tune your mood to some decent mood you are willing to continue, and then try to find another alternative to do that. Okay, so that's primarily the idea of this one. And then I will also record another video to show you the things I'm working on, the actual things, like to achieve the task. I haven't do it before, and let you see. Even for experienced people like me, probably it's still time consuming. It's spending 2 or 3 hours to achieve the task. You think that's gonna be very easy? Even for the experienced learner like me, probably that's so common. And I will do a demo for you. The previous demo is I pretend I'm the beginner, and in this demo I will just trying to do the things I'm actually gonna use it for the some real project and try to learn something I don't really know. So for the next video, okay, so over here that's the basic things. So first, make sure you fall into the right category. You actually, that's help you for your future job when you do working on this project. Otherwise, don't even bother to do it. And if you have no background, make sure you learn the Python basic concepts before you work on the project. If you don't have that, you don't even bother to move the hard one. And then when you have this, you read the text data, and I want you to save all the financial data for each ticket I'm interested in. So that's the things I'm helping you to break into a smaller piece, and how you're gonna achieve this one by one, okay, in a more structured way. And that's overall description for the project.